Hello everyone and welcome back to our Excel tutorial series. In today's video, we will be diving into an essential part of Excel user interface, the tabs and ribbon. The ribbon is a powerful tool that can contain various tabs. It's offering a unique set of commands and functions. So let's get started. Here we have Excel open, and as you can see, the ribbon is located at the top of the screen. It consists of multiple tabs such as File, Home, Insert, Face Layout, Formulas, Data, Review, View, Debuffer, and Helps, and each tab is designed to group related to commands together, make it easier to find and access the function you need it. Here you can just easily see it. So let's begin with the Home tab, which is default tab. When you open Excel in its content frequently, use command for formatting style, or you can see the here font alignment, number, style, cells, editing, and also you will find option to change font style, or also you can find the border at the cell alignment and even perform basic calculation using custom. Let me just use like if I want to click on here, now you can see it's now in the enable, but when I click over here, let me just click on here, and if I don't use the any tab, then it will be disabled, but here it's now enable. Okay, moving on, we have the insert as the same suggest. This table allows you to insert various elements into your worksheet, such as the table, illustration at insert, and tools, or sprout line, or filter links and text and symbols. Also you can find in the insert steps in there. It's an excellent tool for enhancing this visual appealing or appeal to and functionality of your data. The next up, we have the face layout with the provide option for adjusting the overall reference and layout of your worksheet. You can set face margin, and also you can use or you can apply themes and colors and even configure printing settings. Here you can use here like the page setup and scale to also and set option, and you can use also the arrange. It's particularly useful when you need to prepare the data for report or presentation. Then moving on, the Formula tab. This is where you will find an extensive collection of built-in functions to perform calculation and automate tasks, whether you are looking to some value, find average data, or looking like up a reference or nowhere, you can find in the function library, and also you can find the defined names and use also formula or ring and also calculation. It's particularly useful when you need to prepare your data for a report or presentation. The next one you can find tab is all about the managing, multiplying your data. You will and feature like sorting or a sorting filter, and also removing or a duplicate and data validation in this tab. Additionally, you can import external data source, consider data from multiple worksheets, and perform advanced data and analyze using the tools available from here. You can use the next one. You can find the next step. It's called the review. The review tab is where you can collaborate with others, prefer you work and protect your data if you want to protect your worksheet or allow edit ranks. And also you can use the accessibility and insight, or you can use as a language translate in here. So it's an essential tab. If you are working with others, you need to ensure data integrity. Okay, the next one you can find have the view tab, which allow you to control how your worksheet is displayed. You can add the zoom level, or you can also use the style in your windows into multiple pan shows or hide grid line, fridges and rows and columns, and switch between view modes like face layout or full screen. This step is especially helpful when you want to customize your Excel experience in here. you can use it. Okay, and then next you can use here developer, or you can also here like the code and add screen, and also control, and you can use the Excel. And the next one is the help. If you want to if you're looking for help, you can use your help or contact support or feedback. It gives you the on it's kind of the helpline. And then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you how to insert tab in the ribbon. It's very easy. So let's go to the file, and from the file go to the option, and here you can find the Excel option. In here there is a few options like the general, formulas, data proofing, and safe languages in an Access Advanced. So let me use the customize ribbon. Click on that, and here you can find the customize the ribbon, and this is the choose common from here, and this is the customize the ribbon, and here you can find the top in here. So from there you can add a new tab, and you can also customize it. So how can you do it? Here you can find the new tab, just click on that, how it gives you the new tab. Now it's time to rename it. You can just click on that, and it gives the name. If you want to use a name, like if I use the name in here like something, this kind of example, click on that. Now it gives one tab in here. Let me just use the OK. After all, you can see there is the games, and in the under game steps is no group or no other function. So let me just use and customize it. Click on go to again file, and click on the option, and from the go through the customize ribbon, and here you can now find there the tab say games. Now here I am going to add the quick access, or what you are looking for, or whatever you prefer for work with. Like sometime you need to work and it needs to for your formula, so you can add here in your tab. So let me just use, if I want to use for my quick access, go to the all, use the open and add here. Before that, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just add it here. Now it's here, then you can use the different one. Before that, you can also use here the choose the command. You can use all the commands from there, and you can now select and add from here. Let me just use, if I want to use like the auto filter and it on the end and add it. Then if I want to use the auto sum, click on and add it. Then let me just use another. If I customize, or if I looking for something, just copy and add here. You can just do, and you can add for your tab. Okay, let me just work with this group, and when it's done, now you can use the OK. Now you can see under the games tab, you can find here and the open and auto filter and auto sum and copy easily. And you can also customize more. Just go to the option and use the custom ribbon and click on the tab. Then you can add here more option, like let me just use, if I want to use the format painter and use that. Now it gives you. Before that, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add it here. Now it's here, so now you can see this is in the under the tab of the games, so you can use them. Then what can you do, you can also specify use like under, you can use the more group and use here like a new group, and from the group you can just rename it. Click on that. I can say something like this is the rename symbol. You can use the symbol. Let me just use for example. Okay, so if I want to use this one and it, and on the OK before that, and you can also change like something. If I say this is the my group and it on the OK, now you can see this is group. Under the group you can add a new group, so you can add from here. Just click on that and you can add, let me just choose as example open and use this one, okay. And if I use this one, so then hit on the OK. Now you can see under tab there is the two group, like there is a new group and here the another group I made it, and under the group here you added to the customized group and customize one, so you can work with them. Okay, so it is very easy to customize your ribbon with the tab, and you can add a tab in your ribbon so you can work with this group for your work. Okay, so now it's time to delete it. Go to the again the file and use the option, and you can use again the customize ribbon and click on that. Now you can use here and just to go to here, click on that and you can delete it. Okay, let me just select this one, and if I just take out, so it will do it, will go. Okay, let me just take out and use it here, hit on the OK. Now it's gonna, so you can not find it, but what I'm gonna do, you can also use here like the customize ribbon, and you can move it, like if you want to move it in front of the home tab, just click select and use here, just move. Now it's moving to the here. Okay, let me just use the OK. Now you can see it's before the home tab. Okay, I hope you are excited about the incredible function as I am. If you have any question or suggestion or for future tutorials, please leave them in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Hi everyone, and welcome back to our Excel tutorial series. In today's video, we will be discussing a useful formatting technique in Excel, adding a leading zero before numbers. Adding a leading zero can be helpful when working with the codes, serial numbers, or any situation where you need to consistent formatting. So let's get started. To begin, let's consider a number. So here I already used up a number, and if I use like here 0, let me just use the 0, 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7 8 9 like this, and hit on the enter. Now you can see there is, and here I made the with the 0, but it doesn't shows up the 0. So how can you show up the 0? There is the way. First select the column or number that you want to format. In this case I select the C5, and then next click on the select column and choose the format cell. If I use here the format cell, in the format cell dialog box that appeared the number tab in here you can use, and here there are the in the category list, just choose the custom, click on that. Now in the type field, like here the type field, just enter the format quote like 0 followed by, if I use this 0 in here, and now you can see in the simple it gives the 0 in here in the simple. If you want to add on leading 0, enter 0, and if you want to add to leading 0, the enter, like you can use the 0. So let me just use, if I want to 0, it gives here the 0. Okay, or you can use, like if you want to use the more 0, just you can use here the 0. Okay, so you will see the Excel has added the leading 0, and each number is a select column. Okay, so you can use, if I use the 0 and hit on the OK, now it gives you the 0. Okay, now whenever you enter a number in the column, actually, like if I use here like the 0, and if I use a different one, like if I say, then you can use, if I increase the here, so it gives automatically in 0. Okay, additionally, if you already have a column and number and you want to a leading 0 without changing the actual value, you can use also use a formula called text. You can use before that. How can you do? Just format it and it gives you the 0. Okay, the next one I'm going to use the formula, text formula. So in a column, use the formula. Like if I want to use here the 0, so what I want to do, use the text and use the value, and to invert and it use the 0. So if I add the 0, more 0 and close it, now it on the OK, here it gives the 0. Okay, so you can easily use and add a 0 before that number, and you can also use this one same format, just use and use the format pointer, just to click, and if same way, just use the text and use the value. And what I'm going to do, use the inverted comma and use the 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 and close it and hit on the OK. Now you can see it gives the 0. Okay, so and there you have it. You have learned how to add a leading 0 before number in Microsoft Excel using formatting option and text formula. This technique can be handy for maintaining consistent formatting and ensuring accurate data representation. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. In today's video, we are going to dive into the concept of absolute cell reference and relative cell reference. In Excel, absolute cell reference and the relative cell reference is incredibly useful when it comes working with the formulas and ensuring that certain cell reference do not change the when copied or filled. So let's jump right in and learn how to use absolute reference and relative cell reference. So let's start with the absolute cell reference. I'm gonna use the example, and here I'm gonna use here like this is the product and this is the quantity and this is the rate. So this kind of the discount you can use. This is the like the discount and this is the total amount and the first one. Then I'm gonna use this example for the absolute reference. Okay, let me just shows up, and if I want to use or if I want to find the discount of from them, let me just use them. I'm gonna use like this one and times of multiple and this one. Then what I'm gonna do, use this one. Okay, 5%, then hit on the OK. Now it gives me here the discount, this amount, and let me just show up the total amount, and I can just do like this is, so it will come up here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just sum it for total amount, and I can just select and use, then it will give me this amount. Okay, that one I'm gonna do. If I drag down in here, so what will come up, it doesn't come up anything. Why? Because here it doesn't show up anything in here. So for this I'm going to use the absolute cell reference. So for this I need to lock it, because let me just use, and like when I press the enter and copy this formula down to other cell, actually automatically adjust the cell reference. And when I work here, but it doesn't automatically adjust here the cell reference. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna lock it, and this is the very easy way. Let me just drag down. So what will come, it's come only this one, but it doesn't count like here like the different one. Okay, so how can I do that? Just go to the first area here. Okay, let me just use and shows up here. So it's come up like this, but we want to use here, you need to just lock it. Use the dollar sign for the first one, and if I lock it there, so with here, so what will come with the dollar sign is come up like this, and when I take here, so it's come up like this. But I'm gonna use the lock and use here the another dollar sign, click on that, then hit on the enter, then dragging down it gives the result. Okay, then there is another way you can just lock it. I'm going to show you. Use like if I want to use this one and times or multiple this one, then use this one. For I'm gonna use, just gonna use in here F4. So when I use the F4, so it gives and it's locked the cell. Okay, now let's see what will come here. Then let me show you. So it's locked here. so it will not come up in down. Okay, so with the absolute reference, by using the dollar sign only before the column letter, we have made the column reference absolute while keeping the row reference relative. Okay, when I copy this formula down, you will notice that the column reference and even fixed bar here a reference adjust based on the relative position of the formula. Okay, by using the dollar sign only before the column letter, we have made the column re-reference absolute while keeping the row. The next one I'm going to discuss about the relative reference. Okay, let me just show some of the example. If I use here like from 14, then if I use here 30, and if I use here like the use then minus this one, so or use it gives the 10, and if I copy it and paste in here, so it gives 0. When it gives 0, because it counts in the here the cell is not count this cell. Okay, let me just show some what will happen. It's counted be there here. So with the relative, so it's need to be relative with the here, and it should be here. I'm gonna use here the formula 5, and this should be 6. I'm gonna use equal, then say this one and times this one. So what will happen, it gives here the result, but it doesn't take here that this one. Okay, then if I copy it in here and copy and paste in here, so it gives 0 because it's counting here, it doesn't count in the row. Okay, so with this you can understand that the relative cell reference only counted the relative here, the cell, this cell. Okay, when I press the enter the copy this formula down to the their cell, Excel will automatically adjust the cell reference. We can see, as you can see, the formula adjusts the cell reference based on the relative position. This behavior is useful in many cases, but sometimes we want to keep specified cell reference fixed, that where observed the cell reference comes in. Okay, so let me just use this example. In if I use this one, before that what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just use this one like with the sum, and if I use now it just like this and just drag down. So what will happen, let me just show up, it counts this, and here there is count 3. Okay, lastly, practice using relative reference with the different types of calculation and explore the combination with the other function and formula to create more complex calculation. Okay, that wraps up our tutorials on relative reference in Excel. I hope you found this video informative and that it helps you to become more proficient in using formulas. If you have any question or suggestion for future tutorials, please leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our Excel tutorial series. In today's video, we will be discussing an important concept in Excel: mixed call references. Mixed call references allow you to fix either the column or row of cell references while allowing the other part to exist as you copy the formula. So let's dive right in. To begin, let's understand how mixed cell references work in Excel. A cell references consist of a column letter and row numbers, such as like A4, or if I say the A1, and if I say the B5. Like when you create a formula with a cell references, Excel automatically adjusts the references as you copy the formula to other cell. However, there may be situation where you want to fix either the column or row while allowing the other part to exist. That's where mixed cell references come in handy. To create a mixed cell references, use the dollar sign to fix either column or row part of the references. Like for example, I'm gonna show you if I use here the mixed call references, and if I use here the equal, and if I say this one and times and use this one, let it on the enter, and now you can see this times gives the result. And if I just dragging down, and what the result will come. We know, so it skips here. If I take my here and it's come up like this, and if I take this one like this one, now you can see it's come down here. So how can you fix it? I said you need to use the dollar sign. If I use the dollar sign and hit on the OK, then I drag down. Let me just shows up the before we do that, here the result. And if I gonna use here the drag down, now if I change this one and hit on the OK again here and doesn't change anything. So if I click here now, you can see it's times like this. So what I'm gonna do again, I'm gonna use just lock it. So if I use and if I lock this one, like if I locked with the dollar sign, hit on the OK, now it's locked. And if I just drag down, so it doesn't change anything, and while I click over here, now you can see it's come up like this. But how can you lock it? Use here before that, I'm gonna just use here the another dollar sign, use hit on the OK. Now let me just shows up what the change it is. It now it change, and if I use this one, now you can see, and while I click over here and it gives 2 times 15, and if I use same thing, so let me just shows up and it gives a same result. Okay, so with the dollar sign you can just either lock it, and in the case the column references it fixed, but the row references like 1 will adjust as you copy the formula. Okay, as you can see, the column remain fixed while the row adjusts accordingly based on the relative position of the formula row. Let's explore another example. How can you want to fix the row but allow the column to adjust? If I use this one, someone, and if I just drag down to here, and it's come up like this. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use here the same like equal, and if I say this one and use multiply, and what I'm gonna do, use this column, and I'm gonna lock it with the dollar sign, and here I'm gonna use someone, and here I'm gonna use the dollar sign and hit on the OK. Now it gives, let me just drag down, and here it gives the result. Okay, same thing we can do for this column. So how can you do that? That's the same way you can just do to use the manually before that here, or I can just copy this formula, paste in here. Okay, let me just paste it. Then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna edit it. I'm gonna just take it here, this one, and hit on the OK. Now you give the 17 same way. I can just take this one on the enter, and here this one I'm gonna just use take it. Okay, and this one I'm gonna use click it and use same way. Why I can just two for this one and take here the formula. Okay, then what can you do? Just tracking down and it will give you the result. Okay, so the beauty of Excel references is that they allow you to create flexible formula that adapt to different scenario. For like example, you may want to perform calculation across a fixed row or column while referencing other cells that exist. Okay, as you can see, the formula adapt to new rows while maintaining the fixed references to like from B1 here. Okay, so as you can copy the formula, Excel adjusts the row references while maintaining the fixed references to like from here and the column references. Okay, and there you have it. You have learned how to use Excel references in Google in Excel to create flexible formulas that adapt to different scenario. Whether you need to fix the column, fix the row, or fix the both, Excel references are a powerful tools to have in your Excel toolkit. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Hey there, and welcome back to our tutorial series. In today's video, we are going to explore some powerful logical function in Excel that can help us make decisions and perform complex calculation. We will be diving into the and or not, if, and IFS function. So let's jump right in and discover how this function can be used. to supercharge your skill. So let's start with the if function. So the if function allows us to perform different actions based on a specified condition. It evaluates a condition and returns one's value if the condition is true and value is condition is false. So let's see in the action. So I'm going to show you with here, like here is a customer and this is a tap amount and this is a tap limit and this is it. So the cutoff, so if this is the right, the condition is okay, so it will come up yes or it is wrong. So what a condition give you, so it will be wrong or mean. Now I can say, let me just use a formula function. So if I say the if and I say the c4 is a greater than d4, and so what will happen, I'm going to say it is the greater than 4. So then I will say that yes, it will be cut off or it will be no. I can say that no. So let me just use and close it, then hit on the OK. Now you can see according to the condition and the formula, it say that is C4 greater than D4 or 500 is greater than 300. So it will come up with the yes, or if it is not, so it will come up the no. Here we say, and this is the argument is okay. For this it gives the yes. Let me just drag down. So what will happen, and let you see it, so how it will come. So it's wrong because it's not greater than the 300 and the 0 because it's not greater than the 0, and 300 is greater than also the 320 is greater than 300. For this is say that you are okay. Let me do with the example. I can just shows up if I say the value is here something. If I say the 7, that what I'm going to do, I'm going to find out the result in here. We will write the formula using the function to check if the values is in the B15 is greater than like the 7. So and I will be, if I say, let me just if true will be display yes, and otherwise will display is no. Okay, so let me just close it, hit on the enter. Now it's saying that is no greater than, like here is C5 or this one. I can just move it a little bit wrong something. I can just move it, and it could be here the P. I can say it's now okay because this one is greater than the 5. For this it's yes, and if I say the 4, so it will be no because it is not greater than the 5. Okay, so when I press enter, Excel will execute the formulas and the result in there will be yes because the value is 7, indeed greater than 5. Okay, the if function is incredible, but its satellite allow us to create dynamic calculation, perform different action based on the specific condition. Okay, so let's explore the if function. If I use the another tab for each function, the if function allow us to emulate multiple conditions, and returns are based on the first condition that is true, is an alternative to using nested if I statements. Let's start in action. So in, like, if I say here it's a cell B5, if I use this value 3, then in cell in here we will write the formula using the function to check multiple conditions and get return different values based on the condition. Net condition mix. So let me just use the if I, and if I say, let me just use the default one. Before that I'm going to just meet a little bit so it can be a visual to you. It then if I say this the condition, the logical test, this is condition less than, I can say the least, then what will I write, I will write less than 1, I can say less than 3. Then if I say this condition again equal to 3, and I just use this one, and what to be right, I need to use here the inverted comma before that. Now it's okay. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to again use this one, and if I use this one or less than 3, then what happened, so I can say better than 3, then close it, then hit on the enter. Let me just use in here it's okay. then hit on the enter. It gives it to the equal to, because this is the equal to, and it gives the right answer, and it is only the one. It gives the logical test in lots of logical testing here. So if I use your like the 5, so what will come? Let me just use it. Say that 5 is greater than 3, and if I say 7, obviously it is the 7 is greater than this. And if I use this one, so it will be 1 is less than 3. So you can now understand the if function. So it gives me that many logical tests in your Excel. So actually exhibit the formulas, and result is here. It gives, and the if function is a powerful tool that simplify complex condition statement by allowing you to specify multiple condition and their corresponding value. Okay, let me just go back and go to the another function, and I'm going to use here and function. Let me use the and function. Allow us to check if multiple conditions are met. Simulateness, it returns true if all condition, and true and false if any of the conditions are false. Let's see in the action. So if I use here that here if I will enter the value in 10, in here B1 I will enter the value 5. Let me just use the 5 and C in cell C1. We will write the formula using the and formula to check it both values and greater than 0 or not. So let me just use it, and if I say this one and write, and if I use this one like this was greater than 0 and use this word, the logical test is greater than 0. So let me see what will come. Just close it, then hit on the enter. Now in cell where when I press the enter, Excel will exhibit the formula, and the result is the cell C1 will be true because the both values are indeed greater than 0, and the function can be handy when you need to validate the multiple conditions at once, such as checking if multiple criteria are met before performing an action. Okay, let me start with another example with the if function. Here I'm gonna use this is the employee and food sales and drink sales and the food, so they will get or not. So I'm using here the condition. Let me just use if the first one that use the action, and the is the logical. I'm using the and one. Then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use like this one. If this one is greater than 800, or I can say yeah 800, or if I this one like the before is greater than 800, so what will happen? Then this is the anti-logical test, and now I'm going to use the if logical test. So it will come up with this yes, or if I use it now, so it will come up with the now. Okay, then close it. It then use the another parenthesis, then hit on the enter, and what it say that yes, because we say that it is greater than 800, and I also is say that internet, and here it should come. And then now let me just drag down, and now you can see it gives the now because it is not greater than the 800, is less than 800. Same way you can just compare, and here it is the one behind we here it. So okay, it is greater than 900 800, but in here it say the 400 because it is not greater than 400. For this is gives the no one. Okay, the next one I'm going to discuss the about the not function. If I use the not function here, like the not function allow us to reserve the logical values of our condition. It is returns true if the condition is false, and false is false the condition is true. Let's see how it will come, and here I'm gonna use that this is the kind of example. I'm gonna just say that here if I use a layer, just I'm gonna show if you it is C1 is equal then pop, so it will be false, but it returns or it reverts the value. Like if I say, so if I say the here the not function and use here what logical, I can say it is equal or exact max. And if I say this is the pop, so what will come, it will come something, so this is the wrong. So what can I do? I just use the inverted, and here I am gonna use the inverted comma, what it says that true, so easily we can understand that it could be the false, but it is the reverse formula. So if it is the true, so it gives the false, and it is the false and it false if this the condition is true here. Okay, so we just break down, and if I use here, so it gives like because pop is this, okay, because it's measured the same for this gives is the false, but rest of the value here it gives the true. So okay, the next one I'm gonna use like the if and not function. So here I already use it. So if I use here like here, if first I use the logical test in a function, then I use the next one and see one. So if I use this one greater than like before like the 1918, so the next one I'm using the function so retrieve, so it will be steps by but then I'm gonna use the next one, the and function, watch then if I it is, so it will give the here the don't watch. So let me see what will come is come with the don't, because it is the if it is there is it's come up show the don't watch. Okay, the next one I'm gonna discuss about the if and function. If I say here like this one, if same thing it should be if I and use the and, then logical test for and, so I'm gonna use this one like this one is greater than same as the previous one, and I can just say this one. So what will come then this one like here for effort will be what effort is equal. If it is equal, so it will be no equal. I can just say it will be happen no then the function. So this is the one I can just say times and use the 0.03. And if I say I'm gonna use here the exit match, and if it is so I need to the another user. This is so here we go to here the 0. So let me just drag down, and here it gives me the answer. Okay, so with this you can easily use the if not function in here. Okay, the next one I'm gonna discuss about the all function. So this is the all function, just you can use the all function. The all function the all function allow us to check it at least one of the multiple condition is true. It returns true if the any of the condition are true, and false if only all condition are false. So let's see in action. So here I'm using here this is the condition, like here I already use let me just close it, or I can just so it's here say that or and this is the D3. So here is greater than the 300 or D3. So it's less than the 600. So what will come? It will the true. So this is the same action you can use. So or what can you do? Let me just use if I use the value in 3 in here, or I can say the 8. Let me just show up. Then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use here like the same 8, and if I use here the enter below in cell 2, and here if I say here the 3, uh, I will use the or equal, then use here the logical test. I can just say this one is greater than 10. Then if I say the greater than 10, then what will happen? Then B2 or this is the F15, I can say greater than also 10. So what will happen? Just close it, then hit on the enter. Now it gives the false. Okay, when I press the enter, actually execute the formula and the result is here. It gives the false. The or condition comes in the handy when the need to perform an action if any of the specified conditions are met. Okay, so now you can understand about the if function and not function. In here, that's wrap ups for our tutorials on powerful logical function in Excel and or not if and if you the function. I hope you found this video informative, that it helps you to make more important decision and perform complex calculation in Excel. If you have any question or suggestion for future studios videos, please leave them in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Hello everyone and welcome back to Excel tutorial series. In today's video we will be discussing a helpful feature in Excel, automatically generating serial numbers. Whether you are managing a list, creating an invoice or organizing data, automatically generating serial number can save your time and ensure accuracy. So let's type right in. To begin, let's consider a scenario where you have a list of the name or the data. Here it says the data, the name. The first is the serial number, name and designation and the month and the year. So here I'm gonna add the serial number in here, and you can also use the manual if you want to use here like this. So and if I just drag down and let me just show how it looks like, and if I type the name, new name here, if I say the name like here, so it doesn't come up with the number, so it doesn't work, the automatically serial number. So how can you use it? Just undo it, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use here the automatic serial number. So and use the number before that. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use like it the like I like forward the cell and use as a table. Let me use this one, and if I do before that, click on that and use the format set, and from here let me just use as a table, and here and it's the my table as a header. So I'm using this one and hit on the OK. Now it gives me here. So if I use this one, change the color, and if I use this one, and now it gives me like this, then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use the function for the serial number. Just use the method, like if I use here the rows and here, so you say the array, so I'm gonna use from like here 1 2 and 3 row. So I'm using from row 3, just write the a3 and use like from serial. So I'm gonna select it and close it and hit on the enter. Now you can see it gives me like this. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use from like the 2, let me just use it on the enter. Now it gives me the serial number. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just lock it, use the dollar sign, hit on the OK. Now it gives me like this, and if I use something like here like the gems, and now you can see it gives me the automatic number, and if I use like the debit here, and it also giving me the serial number and also inserting the table in here. Okay, so in this example we can do inserting the serial number, the automatically remember. You can also format the serial number using the format option in Excel. Example, you can add a leading zero or apply a custom number format to align the serial number. And if I use in here and go to like if I say this one and use this the custom, and if I use here like 00, hit on the OK. Now it gives me like this, and just click over. Now it's giving like this. Okay, so and there you have it. You have learned how to automatically generate serial number in Excel, either by using the field handle or by using formula for more contents. This technique can be incredibly useful when managing the creative invoice or organizing data. Hey there and welcome back. To this we will be exploring powerful function in Excel, the convert function. The convert function allow you to convert values for one unit of measurement to other, making it handy for various conversion tasks. So I'm gonna show you with the example how to convert one unit to another unit. Here I already made up like the measurement. This is the centimeter and this is the millimeter. You can easily convert a centimeter to millimeters and like to feet to inch or inches to feet or meters to feet, and like this is the kilogram, kilometers, feet, and liters and milliliters or days as hours. So you can easily use this and you can easily convert it with the convert function. So I'm gonna start with the let me shows up the argument of the convert when I click the convert and say the converts a number from one measurement system to another. And if you found from the formula, let me just see use, and from the here just go to the more function and click on the engineering, and you can find the function of the here the convert. And when I click in the convert, it say the function arguments the number, and now from unit, which unit from you want to convert, and to units, so which unit you wanted to convert it or convert a number from one measurement system to another. The like if I use a number, so number is the value from units to convert, then unit is the unit for number, and the to unit is the unit for the result. Okay, let me just use the self function, and I'm gonna just use the cancel it, then I'm gonna use it here. Let me just use the convert and use here the first bracket, and it say the number, so which number do you want to convert. So let me just use the convert from here, and you say from a unit, and you doesn't have to write the full name, and just you need to use the code. Like if I want to convert it from centimeters, so I can just use, and before that you need to use the inverted comma and use the centimeters and convert into the millimeters. So you can use here the millimeters. So if I use the means the millimeters, before that I use inverted comma and use the double inverted comma and close it, hit on the enter. Now you can see is converted centimeters to millimeters. Same way you can do for the rest of your like centimeter to millimeter. Just drag down and you can see it's like the 20 centimeters equal to 200 millimeters. You can now understand. Then same way you can just see for the feet and the inch. Let me just use the convert function and use here the feet. So use the another first one. I'm gonna use the number and use the comma, and then from unit, so you need to use here the, or you can find out from here, you can find in this. So here is lots of units in here, so you can find out, or you can just type like I'm gonna use here for the feet. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use here the ft active means the feet, and use the converted into, I'm gonna use into the inch. So I'm gonna just say inch from here, and then Simon, and just close it and hit on the enter. Now you can see it gives here the inches, so like 10 feet equal to 120 inch. Just drag down, and now you can get the result from converted feet to inches. Same way we can just reconvert it, like here the inches into the feet you can do. I'm gonna show you just is it right or not. Like if I converted these inches, so the feet, so what the result will give me. Let me just shows up here as the use the convert and use it the number. And if I'm gonna use the number and use the from unit, I'm gonna use this unit from inches, so I'm gonna in right and use into the feet. It means the field, it just to close it and hit on the enter. Now you can see it gives the same result, and if I just drag down, now you it gives me the same result. Okay, let me use the like odd number. If I use this one, so it gives me here inches, you can say. If I use this one, so it gives me here the same inch, same, okay, the same result. You can easily change it. Let me just use, if I use one, it gives me the 12 here, and here this is converted inches to fill it. If I use here the feet only, then you can now understand the difference, or it is a converted to fill it to inch or inch to feet. Same way you can use here the formula, just convert it and use here. First you need to use the number and use the unit from you can use. I'm gonna use for inch and convert it to the feet. Just right, I can say and close it. Before that, what do you need to do? I need to see this one and hit on the enter. Now it gives me like the, just scroll drag down, it gives this ensure. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna use the meters to fit. How can you do that? Just easily use the convert and use it the meter. So I'm gonna use the number 10, use from, I'm gonna use the meter. So the meters and close it. The next one I'm gonna use 2 feet unit, so use empty for feet and close it, hit on the enter. Now you can see it gives a 10 meters equal to this feet. Okay, then just drag down and it gives the result. Okay, now we are gonna use for the mesh, so let me just use kilogram to gram, or you can convert it to gram to kilogram, whatever you want. Let me just use, if I use the one, convert and use to the number this kilogram and use from the unit, I'm gonna use for the kilogram. So I'm right kg and use 2 until, so gram means here I say only g for gram and use it and hit on the enter. Now it gives the kilogram. So 5 kilograms equal to 5,000 gram and just drag down. Now you can use it. Okay, let me just use the pound. If I want to, or if I converted the pound, so how it will come. And you can see if I say here the pound, and if I say convert the function and use it here, the first I need to number, and if I use one first one and column first, I'm gonna use from the kg and convert it into the pound. So found, I'm gonna use here the IBM. I can just say and close it, hit on the enter. Now you can see it gives the answer, and the 1 5 kilogram equals to this pound. And if I use here like 1, so what will give it, gives like this. Okay, just scroll down and now you can see it gives the kilogram to pounds, or you can use even also convert like gram to pounds. So what will come, let me just shows up. If I use, and if I use here the convert and use it, then gram and use it from gram. And if I say g for gram and pounds for IBM and close it, hit on the enter, now you can see it gives me the same result. Okay, just drag down, let me just shows up what will come. It gives the sum result in change here. If I use here the 5, so it's changed the same time. So this is the correct. Okay, once. Okay, then let me show up with the kilometers to feet when I use the same formula convert function and use the kilometer. The 5 kilometers equal to, let me just see, and use is for kilometers means km, and then to feet I'm gonna use it ft for feet and close it, hit on the enter. Now you can see it gives me the answer. Okay, just drag down and you can find the result kilometers to feet. And same way we can use the liters to millimeters for the liquid. Let me just use, if I use convert and say the number, if I gonna choose this one, then use for the liter, for I can milliliter, or for ml I can just say before that use the inverted comma and ml and close it, hit on the enter. Now it gives me here, and 3 liters equal to 3000 milliliters. Just drag down and it gives me you like this. Okay, if I want to give you the 1000 milliliters, okay, then I'm gonna show you with the hours or the time. So like if I want to use 2 days equals to how many hours, I'm gonna show you with the same function. Just use convert and just say the number. I'm gonna use this number, then use for here the day, for I'm gonna just write day, and use for the hour. For here it gives here the suggestion for hour, and mn for minutes, and seconds for s, and I'm gonna use for hour. So let me just use one, or I can say r, then close it, hit on the enter. Now it gives me the answer. Okay, the 3 liters equal to 3000 milliliters. Just drag down and it gives me like this. Okay, if you want to, so it gives you the 1000 milliliters. Okay, then I'm gonna show you with the hours or the time. So if like if I want to use 2 days equal, so how many hours, I'm gonna show you with the sum function. Just use convert and just say the number. I'm gonna use the number, then use for here the day, or for I'm gonna just write day and use the hour. For here it gives here the suggestion for hours, or mn for minutes, or seconds for SCS second. Also I'm gonna use for hour, so let me just use this one. Or I can say R, then close it, hit on the enter. Now it gives you the answer. Okay, just drag down and here, and if I use it minutes, then if I use convert to second, so what will come, let me just source up. Then I'm gonna use the convert option from here. If I say the convert, use the number, I'm gonna use the today and use the convert from, I'm gonna use for the day, I'm going to write the day and use and convert into units. So I'm gonna use 4 minutes, so I can just say mn for minute, then close it, hit on the enter. Now it gives you here the minutes. Okay, just drag down and it gives the result. If I change here the 1 days equal to 24 hours or 440 minutes, yeah, and if I converted it to seconds, so same way we need to follow the process, convert and say the from first need to the number. If I gonna use it like from the day, shaded day, and from, and then two, I'm gonna use it to the second. So right, just check and close it, hit on the enter, it gives me the result. Here the second. Okay, just drag down. Now it gives the full result, like you can now easily convert into from one unit to another unit. It is very easy to, and with the convert function in Excel. Okay, so I hope that you can easily convert from one unit to another unit by using the convert function. Okay, that's it for today. I hope that this tutorial will help you find out how to convert one unit to another unit and how to convert the measurement from one unit to another unit. Thank you for watching.
Hello and welcome to this tutorial. In today's video we are going to explore a helpful technique that allow us to convert number into the word in Excel. Converting numbers to word can be useful in various scenarios such as generating invoices, writing checks, or creating printable documents. So let's type right in and discover how we can convert number to word in Excel. So while Excel doesn't have a built-in function to convert number to word, we can create a custom formula using combination or function so to as if the desired result. So let's see how it's done. If I use here, if I gonna show you with the example, like if I use here the this one, and if I use from here, let me just choose and use it as a dollar and check out the from decimal. So I'm gonna use here like the word. So how can you use it? Let me just source up with the example. Before that, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use it, go to the developer, and if you want to have the developer, you can use from the file and use the option, and from here you can use the customized ribbon and you can find in there in the developer in there. If I don't have the, just to see here the ticket, and you can use in real, and you can also use the add in, just you can use from is in your tab. Let me just use the OK. Then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use from the developer and go to there and use the Visual Basic, and from there just go to the insert and use the module. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use the Discord, and for the split number separate, let me just use and save it, then close it and hit on go back again. Then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use here now what number before that. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just check it. So how it's work, let me just shows up in the visuals and use here insert again a module. Before that, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just use here this code for using converting number. Just copy it and let me just shows up what will come. This will come function convert to, like you want to, it will come convert to work, like it will come up like this. So let me just use and paste in here. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use and save it. Now it's saved, then go back to again, close it, then use here. If I say the function, so convert, or I can say convert with this one, tap it, then which number do you want to convert it. Let me just select a parenthesis, close it, then hit on the enter. It gives, it's now done. You can see it is the 50,000. It is here. You can easily do. If I use the different number, let me just use a random number here. If I use the same thing, like if I do the little bit zoom it, I'm gonna show you, take it in here, and if I say scroll down and or drag him down, now you can see it gives there is 16,250, like 30,000, 365,000, 521, 250, 2,000, and 140. You can use random, like if you want to like 500, so it gives you the 500, and if you give the right here the number 600, so it gives you the 600. Okay, so as you can see, by using a custom formula called convert to what, we can convert a number into its what representation. The formula breaks down the number into its constitute the parts, and convert is a part in individually result incomplete what representation of the number. So let me just use, and if I use the more number, the example is a 700, so it gives you the 700. Okay, so first step, so you need to use the developer and use the Visual Basic, and from the here use the insert module. You can use, this is the code for your code, then hit, then it will work on in your Excel. So okay, so by considering this code, so it can be easily convert to number what conversion technique into your Excel templates or documents. Here numerical values needs to be represented in a more readable format. It can save time and effort when generating invoice, financial report, or any other documents that require number to head conversation. Okay, let me just close it. So that's wrap up our tutorial on converting number to what in Excel. I hope you found this video helpful, and that's it. Allow you to create more professional and user friendly. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.
Hello everyone and welcome back to our Excel tutorial series. Today we are going to learn about two powerful functions in Excel, the workday and work international functions. These functions are great for calculating workdays and excluding weekends and holidays from your data calculation. So let's dive right in. I'm going to show you with the example how it works. Let's take a look at the workday function first. The syntax for the workday function is, if I show you in the formula and go to there and use the date and time, and here you can find this is say the workday function, and when I click over here, now you can find there is the function arguments. Here the arguments is either returns the serial number of the day before or after a specified number of workday. So first one is the first argument is the start day. So a start day is a serial data number that represented or represents the start days. Then the day is another of non-weekend or non-holiday days before or after a start day. The next one is the holidays. Holidays is an optional array of one or more serial data numbers to include from the working calendar, such as state and the federal holidays and floating day or floating holiday. So I'm going to show you with the example. For now I'm just doing the cancel it. Let's say we have the project started on January 1st, 2023. Let me start. If I start here the start day, or I can say start data, start date, and if I say the January and use this one, and if I use the 2, 3 and we want to find the data that is 10 works day after that. So if I use here the days and if I say the 10th, and we can use the worksheet function to do that. Like if I use here to find out, I will enter the start date as January 1st, 2023, and I'm going to use here the data 10. So I'm going to use, like if I say the result, let me just start the equal and work day, then use here the start data, let me just use, and it say the start data and then comma and it's the day. So I'm using 10 days and it's a temp also holiday. So I'm not going to use now, just follow it and hit on the enter. Now he gives this number, but this is general, and so I'm going to convert it into the data. Now you can see it's finished, or you can get the result to 13 January 2023. So Excel included weekends is Saturday and Sunday by default when calculating workday. If you want to include additional days such as holiday, you can provide a range of holiday. That is holiday argument. Let me show you an example. If I use here like the holiday, like if I want to keep the holiday into here, if I want to use the holiday or this one, I can say this one is 2 holiday, or I can say the also 7. And if I use this one, this is my holiday, I can write in top we work, we are holiday. Okay, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to find out result in here. Let me just use in the example, we have the list of holiday in cell G10 and G11, we can see. Now let me find out the result. If I use the word and use the study, this one and this, I'm going to use this one, and it's either holiday, I'm going to use the holiday and also using the holiday this one and hit on the enter. And then next see what will come. So it also gives the same result, and here also is counted the holiday because it also found the Sunday and Saturday in the holiday. But I'm going to do, let me just use the different day. If I use here the 6 and if I use here like the 5, then refresh it. So it also count also the same data. Before that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the year. Like if I use the year 1 year, so I'm going to use here the one different way. Let me just use and see. So now you can see this is the 5 and 6 is our holiday. And if it 5 or 6 in holiday, it count the 2 days, and there is the holiday, it count the holiday like here today and in total, and it's count 7 days. Why? Because we started from 1 and counted from the 2, and each of the days is like the 10. So we should be like the 10, but it's count also 2 holidays and it's count also the 3 weekends. And for this it gives here like the 17 and the 17 January. So now you can easily use the weekend or the holiday the calculation. If I use here the another holiday, let me just use, if I use here like the ranks, and it will give me the result. Okay, now you can see it gives me the result. Okay, so now when I press enter, it will be included a specified holidays from the calculation. You can see that result in January in here. Now it is 18 2023 as it skipped the holidays in between. Okay, now let's move on the workday international function. This function is similar to the workday function, but it allows you to customize which day to consider as a weekend. The same take for the work international function is, if I use here like if I go back to the formula and use here like day and use here, then you can see that returns the serial number of the dates before or after a specific number of workday with the custom weekend parameters, and start the year, day and weekend, and same as before. Let me just use, if I use like the weekend, the argument is optional and allows you to specify which day of the week should be considered weekends. Like if I use the year, if I say before that, I am just copy it and I'm going to show you this one. So what do? Just use the workday international function, use workday. If I say the Intel and use the start date, if I use this one on the start date and use the day, so I'm going to use this day, or for then it is in the weekend. So each country has a different holidays. You can, or each country has a different weekend. You can just from here, let me just use, like if I use like the only Friday, let me shows up. If I say 7 and close it, that hit on the Intel, now it gives like this. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to use here the date, and now you can see it gives here the 15th January, and before it was counted here the 13, but it's now the 15 because it's counted the Friday. And you can see now it gives here. Okay, let me use another, like if I use workday and use this one, and then start day, if I say this one, use the day, same days, the weekend. If I use this weekend, like if I say the Friday, or if I say the Friday only, so it will give me here, like if I say the 16, that hit on the enter. Now you can see it gives the different, and it counts only the Friday. It doesn't count on the Friday, Saturday like this. Okay, so with this you can easily find out international working or weekend holidays and count the days, so you can work with that. Okay, now I'm going to use like the different way. In this example, we want to calculate the data. This is the 5 working days. After the start dates, consider only Sundays as like Friday and Saturday is the weekend. Okay, now let me use here the starting. If I use like working and use the Intel this one, and if I say international and this one 10 days and weekend, instead of the weekend I can just use that like the 0000123 7 and close it, then hit on the enter. Then let me just shows up how it will come. It will give me the like this because it doesn't count any holidays. And if I want to count the holidays here, like if I use the one, let me just shows up what will come. So now you can see it's count the 2 holidays, and this is the Sunday. And if I say like here, if I say this one 2 3 4 5 6 7, let me just shows up what will come. Let me, it's come here like this one indicate our days, and 0 indicates as weekend days. When I press enter, actually calculate the data, that is 5 work days after the start days, including Sunday. In this case, the result is now the 12, this one. Okay, and that's all for today's tutorial on the Workday and Workday International function in Excel. These functions are incredibly useful for calculating works and holidays from your data calculation. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you have any question, please leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our Excel tutorial series. In today's video, we will be discussing a fascinating formula in Excel, the rand formula. The rand formula allows you to generate random numbers within a specified range, making it useful for various applications such as simulation, games, and data analysis. So let's dive right in. To begin, let's understand how the rand formula works. The rand formula generates a random number between 0 to 1, and each time the worksheet recalculate the random numbers change, giving you a difference value. So to use the rand formula, simply enter. I'm gonna use the rand formula here. Like if I want to use in the rand formula, let me just use from here, and when I use the rand and write and use it, and I just close this and hit on the enter, the Excel will generate a random number between 0 to 1 for cell. You can also like the rand formula in combination with other function to generate random values with a specific range or for a specific process. Let me just use, if I drag down in here, now you can see this is the random number, and if I use in here, now you can see this gives here. Okay, let's explore a few examples to illustrate how the rand formula can be used effectively. Suppose we want to generate a random whole number between a specific range, let's say between 1 to 100. So I'm gonna write in here, if I say rand, and before that I'm gonna use the rand and use the rand this one, and just then close it. Then each time I'm gonna use 100. Then before that, what I'm gonna to use this one and use the 100 and use the 1, then this one, and if I say plus, and if I use the 1 and or 0, or I can say and close it, then hit on the enter. Now you can see in the example we use a round function in combination with the rand formula. By multiplying the rand formula by range 0, 100 to 1 and adding 1, we can generate random whole numbers between 1 to 100 by dragging. Like if I dragging it the field handle down, we can generate more random numbers within the specified range. And if I drag down in here, so now let's explore another example. How do you want to generate a random decimal number within a specific range, such as between 0 to 10? If I use the same formula, so let me use the rand function, and if I use in here and use this one, and if I use the 5, let me hit on the enter, and it gives a random number. And then again we just dragging down in here, and how you can find here is the number it gives us. And if I drag down also this side, just take it with my question, and it gives a random number. Okay, and the rand formula can also be used in conjunction with the other function to simulate random events or makes data analysis more dynamic. You can use, let me just use the different one. If I use rand in here, like if I say rand and if I times with the 100, so let me just hit on the enter. Now you can see this is the different change in here, so it gives the random number. And again the dragging down, and it gives here, and if I use from like drag down here, and also you can see it gives a different random number. Okay, so by combining the rand formula with the index and counter function, we can randomly select item from a list of value. This can be helpful in creating random sample or conducting simulation. Okay, and there you have it. You have learned how to use the rand formula in Excel to generate random numbers within a specified range. Whether you need two random values for simulation, games, or data analysis, the rand function can be powerful tools. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our Excel tutorial series. In today's video we will be discussing a handy function in Excel, the rand between function. The rand between function allows you to generate random whole numbers within a specific range, making it useful for various applications such as simulation, games, and data analysis. So let's dive right in. To begin, let's understand how the rand between function works. The rand between function generates a random whole number between a specified minimum and maximum value. Each time the worksheet recalculates the random number since giving you a different value. So let me use the example. Imagine like here I'm using the name, and this is the mark sheet. If I use this is like insert, and if I say this is the mark sheet before that here, and if I use this mark sheet for student. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to use it the random number. Like if I want to work with someone, like with the example in the Excel sheet, so I'm going to use, like if I say something, the number like this, or I can use it so it will take the more time to do it. So I'm going to use here the rand between the random function in here. So how can I do that? This is a quite easy way. I'm going to show you how to use it. Let me just use in here. If I use the rand and use here, you see there is a gives the rand between. So I'm going to use it like a between and tap it. Now what I'm going to do in say the bottom, so what is the bottom number and what is the top number. If I want to use the bottom number is the 45, and if then use the comma and it say the top number. If I going to use the top number 98, then close it, then hit on the enter. Now it gives me the random number, and here it say the 96. And if I just tracking down, now you can see it gives the random number. And if I use the rest of subjects, so how can I do that? Just select it, and here now you can see it gives you the random number. Okay, so it's a quite easy way. You can use the bottom number and top number with your the random between function. Okay, then let me just use, if I refresh it, so it's changing the random number, so it will change in the each time when you work and when you refresh it. So how can you keep it this number? Just I'm going to do, just select the number and copy. If Control C and paste it, the paste as a value, just use here Control B and use here, like if I copy first then paste in here, before that just use. What I'm going to do again, just select it, Control C, and you can see it is the paste in here. I'm going to use paste as a value, just use it. Now it will not changing anything. Okay, when I do refresh it, it doesn't change anything. Okay, let me use the year. If I want to use the random year for the student, let me just use the rand between function between and tap it down. You see the bottom, if I use that number or year, like if I use 2015 and use the top one, then I'm going to say 2023, then close it, hit on the enter. Now it's give you the random number, and if I just dragging down, now you can see there is a random year in here. Okay, so with this you can easily use and you can easily work in your Excel sheet, for example by combining the range between function with the index, and also count a function. We can randomly select item from a list of values, then can be in creating random simple or conducting simulation. Okay, let me out. I'm going to do, if I use the refresh it, so it is changed, then same way just copy it and paste it as a value, just use it. Now it will not change. If I use the refresh, so it will not change. Okay, and there you have it. You have learned how to use the range between function Excel in generate random whole numbers with a specified range. Whether you need to random bit for simulation, gains or data analysis, the range between function can powerful tools. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our Excel tutorial series. In today's video, we will be exploring a handy function in Excel, that AutoSum function. The AutoSum function is a powerful tool that allows you to quickly and easily perform a basic calculation on a range of cells. So let's get started. To begin, let's understand how the AutoSum function works. The AutoSum function automatically detects the range of cells adjacent or the selected cell and suggests a calculation based on the context. So it's greater for summing up a column or rows of numbers without having a manually enter the formula. To use AutoSum function, simply just need to select it. I'm going to show you with the example here. This is the merge sheet, the John and the subject wise merge. So I'm gonna use here the subtotal or the total. So how
can I use the just easily used in the top right corner. You can see there is the say the auto sum, and if I you click on there, like let me just click on there, is now is automatically select the, or it's automatically detect the range cell or the sum here, and you press in the enter. Now it gives you the number, or you can use the alter less equal. Just you can, if I use here, let me just use the keyboard, and it gives me here the automatic detect, and it gives me sum total sum in here. Okay, so with this you can easily use the auto function or the auto sum function in the Excel worksheet. Okay, so Excel automatically suggests the sum formula based on the range of cell it detects as adjacent on the selected cell in the suggestion range is correct. You can simplify, press enter to apply the auto sum calculation. Okay, so once you selected the desired calculation option, Excel apply the corresponding formula to the range of cells and display the result in the selected cell. If I use in here the auto sum, it gives the total, or you can use here, if I use here the number, so you can now change it because you the range. Okay, so I'm gonna just delete it now, and you can also use here like this is the row, and you can use as a column if something like the you want to calculate or total it, so you can just use here the sum and auto sum, click on that, and it will give you the sum. Okay, here you can use it. So by clicking on the auto sum button while there are the cell above or to the left of the selected cell, Excel suggests extending the calculation to include the cell as well. And there you have it. You have learned how to use the auto sum function in Excel to perform basic calculation quickly and easily, whether you need to sum up column or numbers, calculate average, or find the maximum or minimum values. And auto sum function is powerful tools. Always thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.
Hello and welcome back to our Excel tutorial series. In today's video, we are going to explore a useful function that allows us to rearrange our data in Excel. The transpose function. The transpose function enables us to flip our data from rows to column or vice versa, giving us a different perspective in our information. So let's dive right in and discover how to transpose function can be game changer in Excel. The syntax for transpose function is quite simple. All you need to do is select the range of cell you want to transport and then enter transport function, and by pressing Ctrl, Shift and Enter, and you can use. I'm going to show you the example. Before that, if I want to show, like if I want to transport it, this is in the horizontal, and if I use this as a vertical, so how it will come, I will show you. Just select and not only just copy and paste in here. Right click and use the paste special, click on that. Here you can find a few options. Here you can choose from them, or you can use the here paste special. In here in the bottom you can find it say the transpose. Just click and hit on the OK. Now you can see it gives you the horizontal to vertical, and it's not transpose. And same way you can just do, like you want to just copy it, or if I just copy this one first, I'm going to just copy it and paste it as the special. If I'm looking for the transport here, transpose it and hit on the OK. Now it gives you like this. But there is a thing, if I change something, if I go into a little bit bigger in here, or I can just do it like this, and if I change something, like if I use here like the tab it, then what will come? It doesn't come anything, it changes. But with the transpose function, it will change. Let me just show up with the example how it will work. what I'm going to do, I'm going to just delete it first. Then I'm going to say the first use here, the transport. And before that, I'm going to show you like from here, when I click over here, now you can see it is in the before, but when I use shift and come down with the here, now you can see that it's in here, like it is in here, like you can see 7R and 1C. So we can use the here, the column is 1, but now number is 7. Okay, you can see. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to transport it, and I'm going to use like a row number will be 1 and column number will be 7. So I'm going to use here, like if I say equal and say the transpose and say the array, so I am going to use this one and use it, hit on the OK. Now you can see it gives like this. And if I want to change anything, like if I use this one, then what will change, let me shows up, and you can see here is change here. Okay, same way, just you can use from the name, use the transport and use the array, just select. And what are you going to do, you are going to, like you said, now you can change and you can see the change of them. Okay, mark you can see in here, same way. Then like if I use like the here, before that I can say the marks, and I'm going to use this mark from here. Let me just use your transport and use the array. I am in here and close it, then hit on the OK. Now it gives like this. Okay, it's very easy. You can easily convert the horizontal to vertical your data. And if you have any change, so here, so it will change in this. Let me just use change. Now you can see it changing here. Okay, let me use another example. And this is like this one, like biology, chemistry, and so on. Yeah, so I'm going to use here, if I say the subject, so I'm going to use here the subject. Before that, just copy it. Then I'm going to use the transport function there, here just equal, then use the transport. Then we say the array. So before that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you there. When I take my question in here, you can see there is C, the column 1. And if I take like this, so now you can see here is a 3 row and 3 columns. So I'm going to use here. So how can you do that? Just use the transport and use the array. Let me just use this one and close it. Then hit on to OK. Now you can see it keeps like the vertical to horizontal. And if I use the same function in here and use the transport and just use, and if I want to use this one and close it, I can just say close it. Now you can see it gives like this. And same way, you can use your transport and use the array like this one, close it. They don't OK. Now you can see it's changed. Next thing I'm going to do, just use the location. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the same one, just use the transport and use the array. And what I'm going to do, close it, that hit don't OK. But by using the transport function, you can easily change the orientation of our data, which can be incredibly useful when working that with different data and say performing various calculations. Here are a few additional tips to enhance your understanding use of the transport function. Firstly, keep in mind that transport function work best with a range of equal size. If the range you select for transportations has different row or column sizes, the function result is an error. Secondly, be caution when you using the transport function with large data set. Transposing a large range of cells can significantly affect the performance of your Excel workbook. Lastly, remember that the transport function is not dynamic. If you make a change to original data. The transport data won't automatically update. You will need to reapply the transport function in reflect any modification. Okay, that wraps up and tutorials on the transport function in Excel. I hope you found this video helpful, and that's it. Opens up new possibilities for organizing and analyzing your data. If you have any question or suggestion for future tutorials, please leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.
Hello and welcome back. In today's tutorial, we are going to explore useful functions that help us count the number of blank cells in Excel. The count blank function allows us to quickly identify and analyze the presence of empty cells within a range. So let's type right in and discover how to count blank. A function can simplify our data analysis tasks. Then syntax of the count blank function is simple. All you need to is specify and a range of cells you want to count the blank for it. Okay, so let me just use and let me just show up with the example here. Also some id number, and you can use here the mark often in math. And so, and if I take out here, so let me just use and take out here, and I'm gonna find out from here. And if I use here the result, and if I say, and let me just use before that, I'm gonna just use the Marcel, and I'm gonna use the result and use the rank or count blank, use count blank and this one, and then use the tab, and from here is asked for the rate. So here, do you want to find out the blank? So let me just select this one, and parent is, and hit on the enter. Now you can see it gives you the result 3 here, the first one, this one, and you can see this is the blank, and this one the blank, and here this one also blank. So with this you can easily find out the blank cell. Let me use the next one. If I want to find, like, use the count blank and using your then and use the ranks, let me use the range and close it and hit on the enter. Now you can see here it is gives the 2, and if I take out, like, let me just take out this one, and now you can see it gives me some result. And you can use, if I want to use the more number in here, like, now you can see it gives here only the blank one. So with this count blank function, you can easily find out the blank cell. And as you can see, the count blank function provide us with a quick way to identify and quantity the number of empty cell within a given range. So this information can be available for data validation, error checking, or general data analysis. Okay, so by using the count blank function with the different range, we can effectively assess the presence of empty cell throughout our data set, and again insight into the data quality or completeness. Okay, so that's wrap up our tutorials on the count blank function in Excel. I hope you found this video helpful, and that's a simplifies your data analysis process, allowing you to identify and quantity blank cell easily. If you have any question or suggestion for future tutorials, please leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.
Hey there, in today's video we are going to dive into two powerful functions that work hand in hand to retrieve data from a table: the index and the math function. The combination of index math allows us to perform advanced lookup and find specific values based on multiple criteria. So let's jump right in and explore how index and math can take our data analysis to the next level in Excel. The index function and the math function are often used together to look up values in a table. The index function retrieves a value from a specific row and columns within a table, and the match function searches for specified values and returns its relative position. So let's see how they work together. So here I already made up an example. This is the product name, and this is the product code, and this is the product rate. So if I use here and like let me just use the product B, and this is the rate, and this is the $300. And if I use the product code, like if I use the product B, the product code is here, is given here, you can easily find it. So with the combination of index and the match function, you can easily use this kind of search format, or you can easily find out so what you are looking for. And this function help you to find out the from the large data set to find out or identify the product or the any kind of data to find out basically. Okay, let's get started. So how can you do that? I'm gonna show you. You can use or how can make this kind of option, and how can you find this kind of, and how can you make this kind of looking or find function. So let's get started here. So I'm going to make it. So before that, I'm going to use here like this is for the results. If I say the product before that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make it as a drop or down list the product name. So I'm going to use the from the data, and from the data use the data validation, and data validation that picks from a list of rules to limit the type of data that can be entered in the set. Let me just use, and here I'm gonna use the allows is the list. So I'm gonna use the product as a list like the drop down, and what I'm gonna do, just to select the year, then use the OK. Now you can see this is kind of the drop down list. It can be easily find out rather than you don't have to write it. Then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use the product rate or product code the same as the first one. So use the data validation, then use it as a list, click on that and use the source. So I'm gonna use the year like a product code and rate, just 21 can use the OK. Then you can now find out this is the product code, or you can use this is the product rate. Okay, then here I'm gonna use it the looking for what you are looking for. Let me just use, if I say we are, and use this one like whatever you write, so it will come up like this. So here this one, it is come up like a crate, and when I click on the product code, so it's come up with the product code. Okay, then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just add it a little thing, like if I use the product code is our product radius, so it will be more clear. So let me just use and what I'm gonna do, use the inverted comma, and use like the is our inverted comma, and now hit on the OK. Now you can see it is very say the product code is so reduced when I click over the date. Okay, so now it's time to use the index function and the match function. So it is a simply way you can use, like if I want to, like I'm gonna use your first, I need to just customize it with the color. Let me just shows up here, and I'm gonna try to find out the result in here. So let me just use in the equal, then use the index function here, then here, and it say the area. So I'm gonna use the area means the data. So which data do you want? So I'm gonna use here this data, and from the area I'm going to select all data. Then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use here the match function. So use the match here, and then you see the lookup value. So what do you look up for? And I'm looking for, and I use the product name. So I'm going to use here the product name, then use the comma, then lookup area. So here is the product. So I'm going to use the product name in here. Let me just select it, then use it. You see the match type. So what kind of do you looking for, less than or accept, match or greater than? I'm looking for the exact match, so it can be fine. So I'm going to use here is 0, and the parenthesis and use here. So I'm gonna again use for the product code or the rate, I'm gonna use for the match function again. So how can I use this comma, then use the match function? I can just say, then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use the parenthesis here. So then you see the lookup value, so what you are looking for. Let me just use like the here looking for this one. I'm gonna use then crop area. So I'm looking for this area, just select, then you can say the exact match or the greater than or the less than, then I'm gonna use this is the exact match. Just use this one, or you can say there does 0, then just close it. Then again it's take you the index, so I'm gonna use it with the index and close it, and then hit on the enter. Now you can see give the insert. So if I use the product code, let me just use, so it's give me the error, the wrong answer. So I'm gonna just a little bit edit it. So how can I do it? Let me just shows up this one, and if I use this code for this one, it turned out okay. Now it's right. So when I click this one, the product, I am looking for the product, and it's now, and here this one, and if I use here like the product code, this is the product code. Let me just use a little bit correction is in it's a to be. So here when I enter the place, now you can see it gives the here the product according to the product name. Let me just use, if I use the product, and it gives me the product code is here. When I click over like the any product or any product record, now you can find the product code. And if you want to for product and if you want to know the rate also, now you can do the easily use the index function and the match function. You can find out in your data. Okay, so the consider using name range in your formula to make them more readable and easier to manage. Remember, can be especially helpful when working with extensive tables or complex formulas involving index and match. And that's the rest of our tutorials on index and match function in Excel. I hope you found this tutorial helpful and that it empower you to perform advanced lookup and retrieve a specific data and points. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our Excel tutorial series. In today's video, we are going to explore one of the most powerful and widely used function in Excel, VLOOKUP. The VLOOKUP function allows us to search for a value in one column and returns the corresponding value from another column. So let's get started. So I'm going to show you with the example. Before that, I'm going to show you the syntax for the VLOOK function. Is like, if you see here the VLOOK, then value and table or column index and range lookup. Like if you go to the formula tab, and there you can find the lookup and reference, and you can find here the VLOOKUP and the function agreement. It say the first one, the lookup value is the value to be found in this first column of the table, and can be a value, a reference, or a text title. Then table array is a table of text number or logical value in whose data is retrieved. Table array can be a reference to a range or a range name. So the column index number is the column number in table array from which the matching value should be returned. The first column of values in the table is column 1. Like I'm going to show you with the example. Let me just close it. Then what I'm gonna do, let's say we have a table that contains a list of products and their corresponding price, and we want to find the price of the specific product based on its code. I'm gonna show you with the VLOOKUP function how it will work and how it can be find your what you are looking for. Let me just use. So what can you do? Just I'm gonna use here, I'm gonna try to find out the pricing. Here let me just use the VLOOKUP function. VLOOKUP, and if I say VLOOKUP, and if I say the lookup value, so I'm looking for this code. Like if I use this code, let me just use and select, or you can do, I'm going to show you the letter on the, then it say the table array. So I'm going to select, or I'm going to use, this is a table, like this table, just select, and this is now in the table. Then use the comma, then it say the column index. So what you are looking for, we are looking for the price. So here is the 4 column in the table, like 1 2 3 4. So in the table, and the price is in the column, 4 column. There is, I'm gonna use here the 3, then use the comma, and it say the approximate match or exact match. So I'm looking for the exact match, just I'm using the false and close it, then hit on the enter. Now you can see according to the code, this is in the price, it gives the 6. And here now you can understand. So lookup find out the code. Okay, let me just use the instead of the false. If I use in the 0 for the false, so what will come hit on the enter? Now it gives you the 0. So instead of the false, I'm using here the 0 for the exact match. Okay, then next thing I'm gonna find out the fruit, like if I looking for like this code, find I which is the food name. So I'm going to just let me just use this code, and if I use the copy it and paste in there. Okay, then I'm gonna use this code for find out the food name. So using the VLOOKUP function equal VLOOKUP, I can just say, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use before that, I'm gonna use the VLOOKUP, use this one and use the table array. I'm gonna select this table, then use the column index. So here is fruit is in the column 2 in the table, so I'm going to use the 2, then use the comma, then I'm going to use the false or 0 for the exact match. So I'm writing here, so this one, and hit on the enter. Now something is wrong. So what I will do, I'm gonna use instead, like if I use the false or 0, this one, then hit on the enter. Now it gives me the here the pair. So it's the quote is here, and it gives here the name. Okay, let me just find out the like the stock. So if I use the different code in here, if I use like 0 or 0 for like if I use 1 3, and I'm gonna find out now it's changing because I change the code, and it gives like the price is this quote for a banana and price is 5. Okay, and if I try to find out the stock, let me just use the VLOOKUP, and I'm gonna use the lookup for this one and table array. I'm just select the table and use the column index. So I'm going to looking for the stock. So it is in the column 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm using the for use a 0 for false and close it. Then hit on the enter. Now you can see it gives here the different stroke, and this is gives the exact match with this code, and it gives the result 130. Okay, so with this you can easily find out that what you are looking for the sum value according to your table. Okay, so the VLOOK function search for an exact match by default. However, if you want to perform an apparel 60 match, you can set the range lookup argument to true or omit it altogether. But keep in mind that or an Apollo 60 match, your data must be sorted in ascending order based on the lookup column. Okay. So let me use another example. Here I'm going to use here I'm going to there is the name and there is a class and grade here. So according to the table, I'm going to find out that let me just use the name and use the VLOOKUP function. And use the VLOOKUP function, I am looking for the name, the bob, and use it inverted comma. Then table array, I'm going to use this array table. Then what you are looking for, I am looking for the class. So I'm using here the 2 and use the 0 and close it. Then hit on the enter. Now you can see Bob's basic is the ready. You can now easily understand. Okay, then if I use the shift set like something here, and this is the wildcard you can use here. Let me just use here. So if I use for the signs, yeah, if I like use the different one, okay, let me just delete it. And what I'm gonna do, use the VLOOKUP and press here, like if I say the history and use like the table array, so I can just select those two and using the table array. So what you are looking for, I'm looking for the grade. So use for 2 and use the 0 for false and close it. Before that, I'm just use and close it, hit on the enter. Now you can see it gives here the C because I'm looking for the history here. Okay, so if you have a large data set or you want to perform multiple VLOOKUP operation, consider using the index, and the mesh function instead. Index and mesh provide more flexibility and are often considered a better alternative to VLOOKUP. Okay, so that's it for today's tutorial on the VLOOKUP function in Excel. I hope you found this video helpful and that it expand your Excel skill. If you have any question or suggestion for future tutorials, please leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next video. Hey there, welcome back to our tutorial series. Today we are going to explore another powerful function in Excel, HLOOKUP. The HLOOKUP function allows us to search for a value in the top row of the table and retrieve corresponding value from a row below. So let's get started. I'm going to show you with the example how the HLOOKUP function will work and how it can be affect your data. Here the argument for the HLOOKUP function. There are three arguments like the lookup value, table array, and row index, and also there are the range lookup you can use. Let me show up with the argument. If I go to the formulas and use the lookup and reference and use the HLOOKUP here, if I use click on that and it says the function argument. First one is the lookup value is the value to find out the first row of the table. Now be a value reference or a text heading and a table array. We can understand then the row index number is the row number in table array from which the matching value should be returned. This is the first how of value in this table is row 1. So I'm going to show you with the example. Let me just close it. Then here what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use the example of here the month and the sale. This the month is a January to June and the sales there is the difference. So I'm going to find out here the according to the Apple. So I'm going to find out the sales report. This is kind of an example I'm gonna show you. Let me use the HLOOKUP function, and you need to remember that HLOOKUP function is only for the horizontal lookup, it's not for vertical lookup. So we discussed in the previous tutorial the VLOOKUP is work with the vertical lookup, but this HLOOKUP is work with the horizontal lookup. So I'm going to use like it work this row. Okay, let me use the HLOOKUP function equal, then say the HLOOKUP, and before that what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make it a table, or you cannot use it or you can use it. Let me just use one table and you can see the control T for table and take out the my table header. Then okay, then here is the say the table and you can just rename it. I can say the data and one and hit on the okay. Now this is the table. Then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use it the cell that try to find out use the HLOOKUP, and I just say the HLOOKUP. Then he said the lookup below I'm looking for the month of April. Then use, then here is a table area, so I can just say the data one, or you can just select it. Okay, I'm gonna use the data one and I use this one, then it takes automatically that data. Then use the row index number, so I am looking for the sales report. So here the row is the 1 and 2. This is the 2 rows, so I'm using the 2 and use the approximate match or exact match. So I'm using the exact match, so I'm using false or exact match, or you can use the 0 for the exact match. Let me use the false for the exact match. Close it, then hit on the enter. Now you can see it gives the April here. The sales report is 445. Let me use, I change the year, the May, the month name. Now you can see it change here. The also sales report. Okay, so you can use here, that is easy way. Then let me go to the another example. If I use the more example, like if I use here, this is the name and there is the name is given here, and also here the subject wise they get the numbers. So I'm going to try to find out the specific subject wise number, and with the name. with the gym for name, and I want to mark in English what number he gets in the English. So I am going to find out the age. Lookup, use the age lookup, just say the age lookup. Then what I'm gonna do, use the lookup values. I'm looking for gym and table area. I'm gonna use the table, like let me just use this table, and where the English is in the 1, 2 and 3 group. So I'm going to use this 3, then use the exact match, the false, or I can use the 0 for the exact match. Just hit on the OK. Now you can see it gives you the 56. He gets in the English the 56. Okay, so you can now understand the difference, so how it can find out with the age lookup function. Okay, let's try to more explanation with another example. Here, if I use, this is the employee and they are caught in here, and this is the employee code name, and this is the sales details in here. Okay, let me use here the details. If I want to simplify, this is the code and try to with the sales for, and if I use the age lookup, this is the same, example like age lookup, and just use another and lookup below. So I am looking for this value and the table area. Let me just use the table, select and row index. So where the 1 2 1 2 3 4 and 5, this is in the 5, so I am use the 5 row and use the 0 for exact match. The hit on the OK. You can see it gives the result 48. So here this is the according to the code number, so the sales for is here. Okay, so now you can understand so how it's work. Okay, let me try to find out or the difference one of the approximate match and the exact match with the true and false define it. So here let me just use the temperature and Celsius, and according to the like the Indian in their country, so I'm going to use the temperature. So cities and temperature is here, cities here. So I'm going to use here the temperature like 40 temperature, and I'm going to use the approximate match or true, this is one. Also use the age lookup, I can say and look up for 40 temperature, and use a table area in, I'm using this area, and what you are looking for, I am looking for the city in the 2 row. So I am using the 2, I am using the true. Let me just use it, close it and hit on the enter. Now you can see Jeffedna is gives 40. So why it's come like this, because I am using the approximate match, that true, because it's nearby. This is not over the 40. Here they see are over the 41 and 42 and 50. So if I use or like 39, what will come is coming the Mumbai, because it's nearby, and 40, this temperature is not over the 40, so it less than 40. Okay, so with this approximate match value you can easily find out a nearby value. Okay, so if you have a large data set or you want to perform multiply, it's looking operation, consider using the also index and match function instead. Index and match offer more flexibility, are often considered better at our tip to a lookup. And so that wraps up for our tutorial on the lookup function in Excel. I hope you found this video helpful and that it explained your Excel skill. If you have any question or suggestion for future tutorials, please leave them in the comments below. For more Excel tutorials, thank you for watching, and I will catch you next video. Hello and welcome back to our tutorial series. In today's video, we are going to explore one of the most versatile and powerful function in Excel, XLOOKUP. The XLOOKUP function is a game changer that combines the functionality of VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, index, and match into a single formula. So let's type right in the discover the magic of XLOOKUP. Okay. First, we need to find out the XLOOKUP syntax, the syntax for the XLOOKUP function. If I found and if I try to find it here, formula, and go to the lookup, and from here just use and find here the XLOOKUP, and here it says the function argument searches the range or any arrow for a match and returns the corresponding item for a second range or away. By default, an Excel match is used. We are using the first value. The first argument is lookup value is the value to search for. The next one is a looking array. is the array or arrange to search, and the next one is the returns array is the array or arrange to return, and if found or if not found return, if not match in found of match mode. Specify how to match lookup values against the values in lookups array. I'm going to show you with the example. The table below shows the employees IDs and the name and the department and the addresses. So from here you can easily find out the X lookup value, or you can easily use the V lookup value. Let me just first use the V lookup. So what the difference of the V lookup function and the X lookup function? Let me just use, if I want to use here the VLOOKUP if I say, and if I use the VLOOKUP value if I want to looking for this one, and the table array if I select this one. Okay, the column index, so I'm going to use here the department. So there is a 3 column, it is 3 and then 2, just delete one, this one, then hit on the enter. Now you can see according to here it gives here the department. Okay, let me, if I try to find out like the names, if I try to find out the employee ID, so what will come? Let me just use the VLOOKUP and use the VLOOKUP value. If I use like the Matthew, and if I say the table array, so I'm going to use this one, the column index, so I'm going to look for the employee ID. So this is the one column, then use for 0 for exact match, then close it, that hit on the enter. Now you can see it doesn't give up the any results. So with the VLOOKUP you cannot find the left data, or you can find only the right data in here. So this is the difference of the VLOOKUP and the XLOOKUP. And also you can use, like if you want to use the HLOOKUP, so same thing we will come because HLOOKUP is for the horizontal and VLOOKUP for the vertical lookup, but XLOOKUP is looking for the whole data in here. So if I use here the VLOOKUP, and so let me use, if I use here the XLOOKUP, so what will come if I use, let me just use the X or equal XLOOKUP. I can say I'm looking for the XLOOKUP, and if I use the method before that, I'm going to use the method, then you say the lookup array. So method in here is, then what is the return array? So I'm going to use this one, that then what's it say, the if not found the logical test, the mesh mode. So I'm going for the 0 for exact mesh, or I can say the exact mesh for 0, just close it. Now you can see according to here the math in the employee ID in the 15. Okay, so now you can understand the difference of the VLOOKUP and XLOOKUP or the XLOOKUP. So what's the difference? So XLOOKUP can find from the data from anywhere in your data sheet. Okay, so now let's go to the XLOOKUP value. So here if I use, instead of VLOOKUP, I'm going to use the XLOOKUP in here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the XLOOKUP, then use the lookup array. If I want to use this array or lookup value, then value where it is in here, then you say the return array. I'm going to use the return array in here and use for 0 for false, and close it, hit on the enter. Now you can see it gives like this. And if I change this one, if I use this 20, so what will come is come with the debit, because debit is 20. Okay, let me just use the different, and if I want to use the here the different, it should be the name. If I looking for like the address, so Ricky, and if I use for the new thing like according to the employee ID, I'm looking for name, department, addresses. So how can you find that? Just use here, just paste in here, and what I'm going to do, just resize it a little bit, then use here the XLOOKUP and lookup value. So I'm gonna use for the 17, or I can use here this one, then lookup array. So where is it? This is this one, then return array. So I'm looking for this one, and say the 0 for exact max, then hit on the enter. Now you can see the 16 Ricky legal and Denver. So name is Ricky and the department is legal and this is the Denver. Okay, so let me use, if I use the 17, so what will come is come up here. Okay, so with this you can easily find out the details data in your data sheet. Okay, let's dive in the another example. And here this is the same way you can use if you looking for the addresses, and like if you look with, or if you try to find out with the department, so what will come, let me just use. And if I want to use here like the department, if I say the sales, let me just use the X lookup below, then lookup array. So it in here, then what you are looking for, if you're looking for the name, or you can use this one return array, the addresses, then 0, then hit on the enter. Okay, now is keep the OK. So with this you can easily use the X lookup for looking for your data. The next thing I'm gonna find, or it is not in your data sheet, so what will come, I'm going to show you. So let me just use the, I'm looking something for the strip or something name. So what will come if I use like the equal X lookup and user the lookup below. So what are you looking for? I am looking for Alex and a lookup area. I'm going to use this one and use the return area. So I'm using like a department. I can select this one, and if it doesn't find anything, so what will come, I can say there are not found any, close it, hit on the enter. But here is found the name, you can see. But if I use here instead of that, I'm gonna use here the different, like if I say in here this here, so it gives nothing. Okay, because it doesn't have anything. If I write here the Alex, so what will come, it is give you like the, and if I use this tab it, so it gives the different. And if nothing is there, if I delete something, so it's come up and not found. Okay, now if the employee ID is not found in the lookup area, from the formula will display not found as the result. Furthermore, you can customize math mode using match mode. By default, X lookup perform on an exist match, but you can specify 0 for an exit match, or negative on for a wildcard match, or 1 for an approximate match. Okay, let me just use here this function. If I use here like the 0 or like the 1, so what will come, let me show us. Up is come up like this. Okay, and if I use a negative 1, so what will come, it also come with the same reason. Okay, in this case, so you can use also the one, so it will come up the nearest number in here. Okay, let me just use, if I say the in the example with this, and if I use the like this is the use the X lookup, then what I'm looking for, I'm looking for EMA, and it's a look error. Okay, so here is the EMA, it is in here. So and what I'm looking for mark, if I say the mark up 10 in math, so this one if I look for there, it is not for. So if I use the one, let me just shows us what will come is come up with 55. Okay, lastly, the arguments allow you to control the search direction. By default, as lookup perform is search from our top or bottom in the vertical lookup. However, you can specify -1 for a search for bottom, or to top on for a search from left to right, or to for search of both direction. That concludes our tutorials on the X lookup function in Excel. I hope you are excited about the incredible function, as I am. X lookup truly revolutionized the way we perform lookup and save us time and effort. If you have any question or suggestion for future tutorials, please leave them in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.
Hello and welcome back to our tutorial series. In today's video, we are going to learn how to create a data entry form in Excel. Data entry forms provide a user-friendly interface to enter and manage data in a structured manner. So let's jump right in and learn how to create a data entry from in Excel. To create a data entry from, we'll use Excel built-in from feature. This feature allows us to design a form with the input fields for each data field we want to capture. So let's see how it's done. In the example, I have a simple table with the student name, father's name, gender, address, PIN number, contact and registration number, admission date and course name, and here I am using the terms and condition like this. So here it says the fee of any course is not refundable. So I'm going to use this one. So let me just use here like if I type in here, if I say something like the gems, and let me just show up, and it will come up like this. And when I click something, so it will comes like this, the issue number, and you can use like the jewelry or something, this one, so it will come up like this. Okay, so I'm going to use this format for making data entry. So let me just use the make the entry from. So the first thing we have to write the our levels thing. Do you want to entry like create for the entry from? Let me just use the information. What do you want to use in your data from? Let me just use student name and say in here, okay, student name. Then use in here like the father's name of, and I can say in here, just here I write here like the student name, father's name, gender, address, at city, friend, contact, and here let me just resize it. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to just select and use the bold. Now it's bold, and here I'm going to use the another one like this one, and I'm going to use the symbol. And here, and what I'm going to do, I am just to copy it and paste in here. Use the control and paste here, like let me just use it, this one, and here paste. Now you can see it's come up like this. Before that, I am going to just delete this row and just resize it. Let me just resize it. Okay, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to select the row all with control and use the different fill color. Let me just use here the fill color. If I want to use the fill color and border, use the thick outside border, click on that. Now it's come up like this. Let me just use and resize it. If I want to use the other 20 white, and same way I can use just to use from here from. Okay, now you can see this is come up like this. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to use here like something. If I use here like the star mark, so I'm going to use the if function in here, and is in, I say if it's the blank this one, so it will come up, and here I say inverted comma, then use it blank, so it will come up with the star before that. What I'm going to do, use here, then if it is not, so it will come up, and if it is not the blank, so it will come up. So with this one, the process, then hit on the enter. Now you can see here is come up with the star. Then let me just use a different font style to zoom, and here it gives you like this. Then I'm just copy it and paste in here. Let me just use select it, and it say in here paste in here, control B for paste. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go again in here and use here the conditional formatting. Click on that and use the new rules, and here I'm going to use the format cell, all based on their values. So I'm going to use here like the icon set, and if I use the icon here, and if I say this is for the one, and I'm going to use 0. Okay, let me just use this one cell icon, click on that, then it turned out. Okay, let me just shows up when I click something or write the student name. If I use like the champs, so what will come, let me just shows up, and it will come up like this. the one spot I'm going to use only the shows of the icon. So click on there again, and here does go back again and use your the icon sets and show icon only the select this one, then I'm going to use. And if I say the 0 here and I just use the no cell, then he turned out okay, so it's come up like this. Okay, same format I'm going to use the rest of here, and just use the control, or you can say the format painter, and double click. And what I'm going to do, I am going to use here this one here, and now you can see it's working. I'm going to show you again, and click in. If I type something in here, if I say the tab it, so what will come, it will come up like this. Okay, the next thing what I'm going to do, I am going to add to your agenda. So go to the developer, and from there I am going to use the insert, and from there I am going to just choose another option. Better just dragging down here, just to resize it. Then use here like the male, then I'm going to use here the another for female, use here, then double click and use here the female. Now you can see it gives me like this. Okay, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to use here like here I'm going to use like something conditioning or a Thompson condition, like let me just go to again and use here the march and enter. I'm going to just say here, or I can just do what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the email center and only for the margin center, and use your terms and condition. Okay, then I'm going to use it again the depth buffer, and use here the insert, and I'm going to use for this one like the textbook on control. Click on that and just write, then hit turn off. Now you can see it's come up like this. Then when I click over here, so it will come up. Okay, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to use it to the resize it. Okay, now you can see this one. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to use here the Thompson condition here. Let me just shows up and march and center. What I'm going to do, I'm going to use here this one, then I just resize it, or I can say here the align. It will come up like this, or you can use either center middle, so you can use. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to use here, before that I'm going to just check out this one. Okay, so I'm going to use here. Now you can see it's come up like this. Okay, the next thing I'm going to use here, the like click or right click and use the format control and use this one. So let me just use here the selling, or if I use a link, then hit on the OK. Now let me just show us what will come. It will come up like this. When I click with the formula female, so it will come up with the 2, and when I use that male, so it will come up with the 1. Okay, the next thing I'm going to use here like the count and use. If I say that's this one is select there and close it, hit on the enter. Now you give 0, but when I use here something like and if I say B, this is kind of example I'm going to just using like this way. So what will come, I will come like this. Okay, this is kind of example. Here it's give me then 9, but here I'm going to use take out these two or this, so it can be fixed. Okay, so you earn 9, then I'm going to just take out this data, and I'm going to use another function. It's called the AND function here. If I say in here, let me just use and use, and before that what I'm going to do, I'm going to use here the another one, click on, and that or you can use in here, just click and use the format control. What I'm going to do, I'm going to use and check and select there. Let me just switch up and hit on the OK. Now it gives the true, and here I'm going to use like if I say the function and you say the logical test, so I'm going to use if this is equal or 2. If I say 2, then it will come up the equal 9. It's 9, so it will come up the 2. Here is also false because here are 2. And if I check it, so what will come if I say something this one, and this is the example. mi is if I say this one and just write what will come up now in the true. Okay, the next condition what I'm going to do, I'm going to just delete it first here. Then here I'm going to use here the city as a list and I can drop down. So I'm going to use right click and use the data, and from that I use the data validation again, and use here the list, and if I say the name of the city, I just hit on the okay. Now you can see it gives the as a drop down, then you can choose from them very easily. Okay, so this is kind of the example. Then course name, as you can see, like the as a data validation, click on that use data validation and here use the list. If I say this is the MI system advanced course and hit on the okay, now when I click over so it will come up like this. Okay, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to use like here then submit button and use also using the clear button. That what I'm going to do in down, I'm going to use here like here on here just resize it first. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the submit, then you see it with the center. I can use another, choose a different fill color, and if I'm going to use the one first, or I can say the one and font color, I am going to just use this one. Okay, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the conditional formatting, click on that and use the new rules, and from here I am going to just use the formula determine who is said to format. I am going to use here and use this one here. So if I say this one format cell and if I use here the true, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to use here this one, and with this equal, then if I say the true, use the format, and here I'm going to just use the field color. Let me just use the field color and font color. If I use like the bold one and it's come up like this. Okay, and also you can choose from here different here, then hit on the okay, then what will come, hit on the okay. Now it gives the like this color bar and it will be true, so it will come up with the formatting color. Let me just shows up what will come if I use this one and choose a center this one. And like if I say this is example registration number, and if I say admission date June, I can say 2001 or something here, so it's come up through and it will give you like this. Okay, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to just take it here, or I can copy and like paste in here. I use here just right click and use the paste link, or before that you can just paste, or I can just control V use and use here the paste as link picture. So here it will come up, then I'm just taking here, so it will come up like this. Okay, then next thing what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you use the another link. So I'm going to use here like for the clear, if I use same format and use here the clear, then use here like the same way, I can just say use this color and use here the format color the middle center, and it will give up like this. Then I'm going to just use this one, this format, I can just say the same format I can use, then copy it and paste in there. So paste in, I use here like this one link, and you can resize it a little bit. If you want to use the resize it so it will come up like this, then you can use the view and use take out the grid line. Now it's come up like this, and if you want to see this will come up like this. Okay, the next thing what I'm going to do, before that I'm just using the grid line, and here is the Darwin. I'm going to use here the student name and registration name, and also here the father's name you can use in here. Let me just shows up how it will come in the father's name, and there is the admission date, gender, and is this the course name, city, and you can use like here the state name. So we don't have the state name, that we can just delete it and just move it here. I can just copy it and paste in here. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to link into the student names with the student names. Here let me just use here the equal, then link to the here, click on the internet. Now it's come up like this. Same way this is showing will link to decision. Here hit on the enter and the father's name I'm going to just use here. In hit on the OK. In the same way we can admission date we don't know. Okay, the gender I can use the formula. So which formula you can use? Let me just use the formula like gender. So if I use like this one equals, so it if it is one, so it will come up with the email I can just use. And the next one it is not, it will come up with the formula. Click on that, hit on the OK. Before that I need to just do it come with the false. I need to just use here. If it is this one, so I need to use here, or it will come up with the female. First hit on the enter. Now you can see it gives the email, and if I change here the like female, so what will come? It will come the two and it gives you the female. Okay, the next thing I'm going to use here like this is the personal. I can just link to the course field here. This one hit on the OK. Then city you can use the equal, use the city in here, hit on the OK pin. Same way you can just do here. Okay, the next one you can use the contact and just say this one. Okay, now it's linked to the here. I'm going to just use this is the entry from, give the entry from. Okay, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to use another sheet from the data sheet. I can just say this is the name, as I'm going to link it, rename, and I can say data it on the OK. Now if you can see, or whatever I write, so it will come up in here like you want to see it. I'm going to show you. Let me just resize it. Yeah, okay, let me use here. Let me just take it. If I use this one, if I use neutral, so it will come up with the new tone. I'm using show you. Yeah, but it is not being here. And if I say this one should be here, it will come up with the new tone, student names, and this is the father's name. Okay, registration number, and if I use the father's name. Okay, so what will come, it will come up like this. Here's the new tone. Okay, then I'm gonna use the first, this one I'm going to just select it, copy, then go to the data sheet, and here I'm going to just click in here. And before that I'm going to use here, like if I use your developer, and from the use the record macro and use this one, and for and this control and down arrow, then left arrow, then up arrow. Then what I'm gonna do, release the control, and here and use the control alt V and use the values. Now it gives here, like now you can see it gives here. So whatever we write, and if you write something in here, like if you want to use, like if I say 6, so what will come? So in down is come, so the it sucks. So it in the last list we will do use the view, and from the view take out the grid lines. And here I'm gonna just this one I'm gonna use the different font color and use your like the white one, so it cannot be shows up. And let me just use the white one, so it's come up like this. Then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use this one here, and this one I can just use like here side this one, so but it will work here. Then I did, so it's so working. Okay, now you can see this is kind of the form, and you can get your data in here. Okay, so with this you can easily use your data sheet and entry in here. And that I will be go to the here. Okay, so we explore advanced pieces like a drop down list that figure or a check works or provide more interactive and user friendly data into experience. Okay, So that's wrap up our tutorials on creating a data entry from Excel. I hope you found this video informative, and that's it, help you to streamline your data entry process. If you have any question or suggestion for future tutorials, please leave them in comments below. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.